Welcome to my channel, No Management. In this video, we will talk about basics of human resource management. This is the very crucial factor of managing human resources for the betterment and being productive in the organization. So this video will cover mainly three factors. The first one is, who are human resources? Who should be told human resources and who are simply human being? So what is the difference? Similarly, what factors actually convert a human to human resources? So we'll talk about this in this video. And finally, we will discuss on what is actually human resource management, how they should be managed for the betterment of the organization. So these are the topics we will cover during this video. Let's move on to our main first topic, who are human resources. Generally, human resources and employees are same. So we know human resources as the employee of any organization. So they are employees. Such employees or human resources mean they are always willing, ready, and able to contribute to the organizations. Whoever are ready and willing to contribute to their organizations, they are human resources. And human resources are also known as human capital, in the sense they will contribute to the organizations for the long-term betterment, and it will be an investment for the human. Whatever investment, whatever expenses are done for the human resources, that is the investment of the organization, and that investment, of course, should return to the employees, should return to the organizations. And human resource is a subject which is focused on the benefit of both organizations as well as employees, individual employees. And human resources are, of course, assets. These are uh, generally known as assets, but if they are not properly managed, they might be the liability for the organization. In the sense, we have seen many human resources have like vandalized the property of the organizations. Some employees might have just broken down the taps of the toilet or vandalized the furnitures. These kind of activities, this kind of behaviors would be caused due to the mismanagement of the organization. So if properly human resources could not be managed, the same human resources or assets might be converted into liability for the organization. So they are human resources. So actually, what factors make them from a human, general human, a lay human, to the human resources or assets of the organization? There are mainly five factors, and these are just list. It's not a last. We are just discussing on the few factors which are very important to convert a human into human resources. Such factors are generally the blanket words for these all factors is competencies. That competencies make a human to be ready, willing, and able to contribute to the organizations. So this is the competency, and we talk about the competencies. What are the competencies that make the human into human resources? The first thing is knowledge. General knowledge is obtained from your university, your college, or the books and other whatever theoretical parts of the subject is known as knowledge. So you should have, like a human should have knowledge about their field of work, what where they want to work. They should have a kind of knowledge so that they would be denoted as human resources. The first thing is knowledge. Secondly, the skills. Skills means if they practice their knowledge, they will get skills. So generally, experience is also known as skills. And without experience, so like everyone can practice their knowledge, and that practice just gives them the skills, the way they can do the work. So this is the another thing is skill, and a skill is equivalent to experience. Okay, and the third one is, of course, attitudes. We call it attitudes or behavior. In spite of being knowledge and skills, if human has no attitude, or like they cannot work with a decent behavior, how they should be disciplined, or what should they think about their job, their attitudes, their personality, all this, the learning skills, all this will be another factor that will make a human as a human resource. And another factor is, of course, energy. Energy means the human resource must be able to work, or continuously dexterity of the employees, and the employees must be able to contribute to the organizations energetically, enthusiastically. So energy means like we talk about the age of the human resources. With the age passes, the employees will have less energy, so that they should be retired. So here energy is a very important factor, and it is being taken as an important factor in this era. Similarly, potentials means the ability to assume higher and higher responsibility. Employees are given first in one positions, and they should be promoted, they should be given more and more responsibilities. If an employee cannot assume such higher responsibilities in future, then that would be a problem for the organization, because that employee cannot be promoted, so that the employees will be demotivated, frustrated, and thus the employees will not be any more assets for the organization. So to convert a human into human resources, these factors, these five factors, are in a single word, competencies. Competencies are very important to convert the human into human resources. Okay, let's move on to what is human resource management. Of course, human resource management is a kind of organizational activities. It's a part of overall management of the organizations. In course of managing the whole organization, human resource management also comes in between. And human resource management is about managing people in the organization. Managing people means organization always wants to use the human resources. That means use the competencies of employees for the benefit of organization, or for the achievement of organizational goals. In course of utilizing them, whatever activities are done by the management, by the organization, that is known as generally human resource management. So human resource management is simply, we talk human resource management is about, is the process of managing people in the organization. Managing people in the organization, of course, for achieving organizational goal. So managing people means managing people's strengths, their competencies, their energies, their potentials, all this. So managing people in the organization for the organizational objectives, and such management is done through major four factors that is known as functions of the human resource management. The whole activities within human resource management are mainly four. The first thing is acquisition. Such acquisition means acquiring human resource first into organization. Without human resources cannot be done. So first, human resources are just acquired into organization. They are taken into organizations, and then they will be developed as per requirement of the organization, and they will be utilized. Utilized means they will be motivated, their performance would be evaluated, their compensation will be managed, their salary will be managed. Doing all these, the employees will be utilized, means they will be using their competencies for the betterment of the organizations. And finally, maintenance means just retaining them in the organization for the longer period is the maintenance task, and to continue their job, to continue the human resources job in the same organization. The organization does the practices many kind of uh, policies, like mm, employee welfare is the practices that employees are retained in the organization for the longer period. Similarly, they should be made disciplined. The relations between employees and management should be fair enough so that the employees would remain in the organization for the longer period. So by doing all these, the human resources are managed. But in a closed system, these all functions will work effectively. But talking about the open environment, that means these all factors are also, whatever the four factors, also affected by the external environment. That means what's going on outside there. Like who are paying high salary, that would be the major factor to decide the compensation salary in the same organization, in this organization also. So there are other that dynamic factors environment that would affect these four factors. So human resource management is simply managing or using human resources for the benefit of the organization, considering the external environment or what's going on outside. This is all about human resource management. So human resource management means, in conclusion, we can say that human use of human resources for the benefit of both organizations as well as employees. And managing people is very different to managing other assets in the organization. They have their emotions, their feelings, their expectations, all these. So managing them is very difficult, and it is so taken as very critical subject in the management field. Okay, that's all for this video. Please subscribe and like this video. We will be making other videos